Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we are going to be taking a look at 4 drop pods and comparing them to see which one is the best, which one comes out on top as the best drop pod of this wave. So there is actually 7 drop pods total. We have Ocean Break, Flood Hunter, Bronze Cobra, Guillotine, and then there's Veritas, Throne, and Stonebreaker. Those 3 I have been told were Walmart and Target exclusives, and you couldn't buy them on like Amazon and other places, so that's why they're harder to get. And so these 4 are kind of grouped into their own wave, and the other 3 are kind of grouped into their own wave. I don't know the exact release dates. I didn't bother to Google it because that didn't seem like really pertinent information before the reviews. And I was just starting collecting when these were in stores, so I wasn't really paying a ton of attention to the Mega Construx scene as a whole. Anyway, these 4 were provided by Discord user Kev, so huge thanks to him for making this video and all of the reviews that I've done possible. So real quick, let's just go over and recap each one of the pods. Operation Ocean Breaker, the stark white pod contrasted by the metallic blue. This pod is not great for stealth, but is great if you want your enemies to be afraid when they see you coming. This will shine like a star as you're coming out of the sky, just blazing down, all white, just come bursting out and just lay waste to everything with this shotgun that's included. ODST is really cool figure, has the ankle strap, sniper shoulder pad, and really nice blueprint. The major issues with this set is primarily just the fact that the visor tends to be not that well printed. Operation Flood Hunter. This pod truly is made for dropping feet first into hell. This guy is going to be dropping into flood-infested zones, and I can't think of any worse place to be. However, he is armed with a flamethrower, which is the ideal weapon for torching large groups of flood and turning them into little crusty pieces of bacon. ODST himself has very nice yellow print. He's got another ankle strap, and he has a shoulder piece that looks very cool. He shares this shoulder piece, the sniper shoulder, with pretty much all the other ODSTs, and I really like that. The pod itself has warning symbols on it to show that this pod means business, stay far away. And it also has some flood-looking junk on the bottom where he came crashing down. Main issues with this set, the yellow print tends to be a little bit transparent. Operation Bronze Cobra. This guy is ready to drop straight into the middle of any desert combat with his big rocket launcher. Got some nice paint on there. The kind of tan and silver details is perfect if you want to blend into the desert. And then the pod itself is very muted with the desert color scheme. And there's really no extra print on it, just what's on the door, and that's it. Major issues, the visor for this guy is weird, and this hand seems to be wobbly in the socket. I'm sure those issues will both not be recurring ones necessarily, but in this case, it is an issue. Operation Guillotine. This pod is made for, well, honestly, I'm not sure what it's made for. Urban combat, I guess, but as with Ocean Breaker, you're not going to be going in quietly. If you're going in with this pod, you are going in loud and you are going in as hard as possible. You want your enemies to see you coming and you want them to run. I mean, look at that green. It just screams, here I am. And honestly, it looks really, really nice to me. The ODST looks great as well. The light gray and the light green paired with the kind of darker gray is really nice. He has an ankle strap and once again, a shoulder piece. That's the sniper version. Then he's got a unique head with the extra, I don't even know what this apparatus is, extra sensor equipment or whatever. He comes armed with a target designator and a SOCOM pistol that has, oddly, a painted barrel. Major issues with this set. This one in particular has a very, very poor visor print. It's all lumped up, and that's just unfortunate. I doubt that's a main issue. Like if you were to buy 20 of these sets, I doubt all of them would have it. I would guess that the major issue for this guy would be the green having some transparent issues. But other than that, very, very solid. Here is all 4 of our drop troopers. And what I want to know is which one is the best. So we're going to look at the weapons first. In terms of the weapons, we have the SOCOM pistol and target designator of the guillotine trooper. Definitely not the best weapon here. Target designator, great. SOCOM pistol, also great, but why in the world did they paint the end green? It looks like it's capped or something, and that just kind of makes the weapon not quite as good as the others. Bronze Cobra, big rocket launcher, a little bit of print, looks pretty cool, but I know there's an overall dislike for that era of rocket launcher, the newer version. People prefer the Spanker, and I understand why, but I do think that this gets a little more flack than it deserves, but that will also put this guy not in the winning category. Next up, Flood Hunter. Big flamethrower, big flame, very, very good. Last but not least, we have the Ocean Breaker, and he has a shotgun with some silver blue print. I would say this guy comes in second in terms of his weapons, and the Flood Hunter comes out on top because of just how epic his weapon is. Now, in terms of versatility of the ODSTs, Flood Hunter still stays on top. He can fit into pretty much any scene anywhere. Bronze Cobra would come next because he is a desert-themed trooper, and desert-themed stuff can be fit pretty easily into urban scenarios or even just like forest stuff, and they won't look too odd. Guillotine, in terms of color, comes in next because he is, despite the green, the lime green highlights, he does still have a lot of gray on him, which makes him good for urban environments. And Ocean Breaker comes in last in terms of color because he's pretty much a walking target unless he's in a snowy environment. Now, you're probably thinking that the drop pod ranking will end up the same as the figures, and you're almost right. I'm going to put the Ocean Breaker one at the end. It's not bad. Keep in mind that nothing that goes at the end of this list is bad because they're all great. But it's just not as useful as some of these other ones. This one, the Flood Hunter one, definitely takes the cake for the most useful and good-looking drop pod. Number 1. Now, this might be a little surprising, but I'm actually going to put the Guillotine drop pod as number 2 for a couple reasons. First of all, it's just so unique looking, and the gray sets off the green really nicely, and while it is nearly as noticeable as the Ocean Breaker pod, it is a little bit more versatile in terms of its colors. And it has this absolutely fantastic like burn print on the end, which is super realistic because these things are coming through atmosphere, so the heat will be really just hitting the bottom. So this one's actually going to come in second. And then Bronze Cobra will come in third because it's just overall really solid and can be used for many different situations. And then last but not least, the Ocean Breaker pod, which I'm still not entirely sure how many different environments this would be useful in. As I said, you will definitely be seen coming down. I mean, it's white. You're really just going to look like a shooting star landing right in the middle of everything, and everyone's going to be staring at you when your door pops open. Well, there you have it. That is my final ranking of these 4 drop pods. Flood Hunter just absolutely burns its way into first. It's just by far the best drop pod. Between the combination of the figure being really excellent and the really super unique color scheme and the way the colors are just so well set off by the dark gray, Guillotine comes in second. Third is the Bronze Cobra. Not at all bad. Really super solid set. I think it's just, not that it's less unique, it just doesn't stand out quite as much, which is its strength and its weakness. It can fit into many different scenes, but there's nothing about it that makes it pop. Whereas the first two, this one pops because of how how many warning symbols are on it and how sleek and dark it looks. This one pops because of the lime green and the kind of almost graffiti look to the whole thing. This one is really good, but doesn't have that pop. And then last, I don't want to say least, because this is by no means a bad set, but Ocean Breaker definitely comes in last because the visor print is pretty much always poor. It's usually too thin, and it's so dark against such a white background that it kind of knocks it down a notch for me there. And then the pod itself, while nice colors, it is just not super useful in a bunch of different scenarios. Like, I don't think I would easily stick that in the back of a photo and have that not stand out really badly, whereas I could put Cobra or Guillotine or Flood Hunter into different scenes and they wouldn't look too garish. But I think the Ocean Breaker one might do that. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.